All right, Travi. Here we are, mate.
Good to be here, mate.
Yeah, it's good to have you on finally. I don't really think we get to do anything with Marvel together, which is weird considering that we live so close.
Yeah, I know.
I think we were discussing it the other day. I don't think we've had an in-person game in over 6 months.
Yeah, considering we live 5 minutes away and both compete in the league regularly and test games, it's weird that we don't play against each other.
Yeah, I know, right?
I think it's because it's rage-inducing for both
It
of
is.
us.
We get triggered, unbelievably triggered.
And then some.
All right, so you've got my screen. You can see me hovering over Black Panther right now.
Yep, my boy.
You beauty.
King
All right.
T'Challa.
So this, I'm sure you've seen on YouTube, but I'm just filming this one live because why not? Reduce that music a little bit. It's better. Yeah, so this is a in-depth character review. I figure you are basically going to be known as King T'Challa going forward. So why not start you out with Black Panther? I feel like you are more qualified to talk about this than me. And it's good to spice it up a bit. So we're going to do strong against, who Panther's good against, his top 5. And then we'll do like a little in-depth as to why. A little short spiel. Doesn't have to be really long, just a minute. Then we're going to do who he's weak against. His 5 things he's weakest against. And then synergies. And the synergies just seems to be panning out with like... It generally ends up being like 1 or 2 characters that he's very good against. And then it just ends up being...
Can you
affiliations.
add like factions in for synergies? Or
yeah, so I've just been using the leaders.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I've just been using the leader as a picture. I've got to go through and modify this tier list maker, but other people have been using it, so I'm hesitant to throw things in there that aren't characters because, yeah.
Yeah, copy.
Yeah, other people are still using it. Right, all right, starting with Black Panther. So let me just swap over to our tabletop simulator, bring his card up, we'll go through it. Right, see that?
Yep.
So starting with Black Panther, our in-depth character review, we have 6 health, long mover, size 2, 4 threat, 4/3/3 for defense. We have a strike that is just a pretty stock standard strike, except for the before damage is dealt, push the target away S. We have a kinetic burst, which you don't see very often on Panther, but it is there, which he can pay to increase. Yeah, exactly. We can pay to increase it up to 9 dice potentially, with an explosive force on the back end of it. He is the king of Wakanda, so this is the best leadership in the game. I'm still going to stand by that. And we are correct because there is 2 Wakandans in the finals, so we stand vindicated.
I don't know if it's the best. I'm going to be...
It's the most
controversial
consistent.
opinion out there. I don't know if it's the best, but it is the most consistent leadership in the game, in that you will use it every roll, every turn of every character.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it is, you're going to get the most bang for buck out of it.
Which is what you want. So we have an allied character. Yeah. After an allied character rolls attack, dodge, or defense dice, it may spend 1 power. If it does, it may re-roll 1 of those dice. We have Mantle of Black Panther, 2 power, re-roll all of your attack dice for the entire turn. We have a Pounce where he throws himself, and we have Vibranium Armor where he counts blanks as success for physical and energy at all ranges. So what to you strikes here as being incredibly powerful?
I think overall with Panther, to me, he's the gold standard of 4 threaders, and I'll say why. So 6 health, that's a big one, because it just takes him that little bit further away from being able to be one shot, right? If you're in that 5 and 4 health range, there's a pretty consistent chance, I feel, that you're gonna get fisted pretty quickly, right, in this game. So 6 gives him that little bit of a bridge too far for a lot of characters to take care of him. Long move, amazing. 4 physical, amazing. 3 energy, 3 mystic. So that's probably about the average in the game. It is actually the average in the game is 3, right?
3, yeah.
So 4 physical is good because physical is the most common attack. He's got a reposition, an enemy reposition, and a push. He's got or 2, I guess, if he uses his explosive force on his kinetic burst as well. He has a inbuilt dice mitigation mechanic in Mantle of Black Panther, so his attacks can be like, for just 2 power, bang, he can reroll any number of attack dice that turn, so that compounds at Wakanda forever. We'll get into that later. He's got a throw. He is throwing himself, so it's kind of semi-different to a lot of the other throws, but it is a throw, which is a really guaranteed way to deal damage. And then he has a defensive capability in vibranium armor, so adding the blanks to defenses, which is huge.
At
and
all
all
ranges.
ranges. So all round gold standard. He's got an offensive ability, he's got an enemy reposition, he's got a self reposition, and a defensive
Buff.
mitigation. So, and 6 health, which is the big one.
It ticks all the boxes for a god tier character. A displacement effect, a self-displacement effect, a dice mitigation, and he actually ticks that twice because of his leadership, and high health and tankiness, right? Ticks all the boxes. So that's our Black Panther. So I'll swap back over. So strong against. In your recent experience in the league, what are some of the 5, like, we'll try meta characters to start with, that you think he has serious game against? Like, he can bully the most? Like, if they see Black Panther across the table, they are in serious danger of just being worthless.
So anyone that's got a 5 or 4 dice physical attack is pretty much up shit creek when it comes to attacking Panther. You're really pushing uphill there to try and get through it. So I think he's really good against, like the Mystiques, the Black Widows, the rapid fire, but he's got blanks for successes, so he's really strong.
So we'll throw Mystique in there because she is absolutely meta.
Yeah. He does lose his rerolls, but the fact that he's got blanks for successes is huge.
He keeps his reroll. Oh, he keeps his Wakanda reroll, so he gets around Mystique. So Mystique's a very powerful. Mystique is a huge meta presence right now because of her deception, and the deception is annoying for Panther. But of all the characters in the game that can be deceptioned, he's the one that cares about it the least because he is so tanky.
Absolutely. He's strong against Corvus and his Reality Stone, in that he has 4 physical and has defensive rerolls, and he's got the blanks for successes. So Corvus is really strong because his standard attack is 5 dice with skulls counting as crits,
and pierce,
and he counts his blanks for successes, and he can pierce. So the pierce is irrelevant against Panther because his blanks already count as success. So you just turn a fail to a success or a success to a success. So it doesn't really affect him. So he's a really good pick into the Corvus menace that is plaguing us right now.
Yeah, so he will be plaguing us more with Angela, I think, becoming more and more of a meta presence.
Absolutely.
What factions do you think, or what leader do you think Panther is the strongest against?
Oh, that's a good question. The thing about Wakanda is they're probably good against everyone, right? Yes. They've probably got the highest win percentage in the game, so it's probably more what they're weak against, I guess. Strong against probably nearly everyone. Weak against, I'd say, Cabal. And I think that comes from their
MODOK
synergy with Red Skull and MODOK.
That's powerful. Would you say of our current meta picks, would you say that he is good against Venom or Magneto, or he's good against?
He's not bad into Magneto because he's against the blanks. Anyone that's relying on a physical builder,
absolutely,
Panther's really good against. So it's kind of hard to.
I want to say he's very strong against Black Bolt. That's the one that's the 5 threat that I think Panther can basically just choose to ignore. He's got 5 energy, which is he can spike over his defense, but Black Bolt's big damage comes from his pierce, and Panther ignores that because it turns a success into a success. So he's very strong against Black Bolt. He's also quite good against Kingpin as well, because of he's a small mover, and Panther's push can push him essentially. If you think of his pushes like staggers, they're very powerful in controlling Kingpin. And then lastly, under the same pretense, I would say that he's very good against Thanos, especially this the 9-point Thanos that's floating around. Because Thanos' main power generation in that 9 threat level where you have Time Stone and Reality, most of it comes from dealing damage. And Panther is a very good character to stick in front of him because of his 4 physical defense, blanks of success, all the good stuff. Which is good because these are at least 4 of these are very strong meta presences, right? 9-point Thanos, he's not going anywhere. Criminal
Could
Syndicate,
even put Valkyrie there as well.
we can throw that. He actually is very good against Valkyrie. We sort of track it
Yeah,
down.
and she's a huge meta pick right now.
Absolutely. They're very good against Criminal Syndicate, who are about to become extreme. Like, they're a huge meta presence because Deadpool's coming, and Deadpool, I think, will bring a lot of people onto Criminal Syndicate because he always counts as healthy. Mystique, Deception is basically the only card I can think of off the top of my head that counters Hide Muscle without having to bring Hide Muscle. And Corvus, because he's the counter Angela. So now, this brings us into your next big specialty. Who Panther is weak against. And I'll just go ahead and grab him first up.
Chuck MODOK right there.
MODOK?
So, those who don't know, MODOK, I think, has a 70% chance of dazing Panther in one activation, and then MODOK's usually relying on having priority. So he just straight up dazes Panther and then start the next turn, kills him. So pretty much just, if you see MODOK, keep Panther away.
Yeah, absolutely.
At all costs.
It's because he's got Mystic with Sap power, so Panther he loses his power that he potentially can get for his Vibranium against other characters on his injured side. He can't get any of his dice modification except for the Wakanda reroll against MODOK. None of his blanks now count as blanks, so don't count as success on his Mystic attack. MODOK has a throw, he can advance him. Oh, it's all bad.
Yeah, it's not fun.
So another one that I want to throw up here, and you tell me your thoughts on it, is, let me see if I can track him down, right here. Mr. Miles Morales.
Talk me through that one.
So I want to say he's weak against Panther solely based on the fact that he can take Panther's objectives at will. So Panther can't hold extracts against him.
Fair.
Panther can do good
fair.
damage into him, don't get me wrong. So in a punch-for-punch fight, they're roughly equal because Miles has good rerolls, whereas Panther just has big dice with blanks.
I feel like Panther gets up on him more often than not. If it's offensive against offensive, I feel like Panther probably wins that because Miles can't really damage him.
Correct. But if they're playing Miles, how most of these top-level players play Miles, he grabs it and runs. And with his medium move, and then range 3 teleport, even Panther can't keep up with that. Just want to say hello, Darren and Utility Cookie. How's it going?
Hey, boys.
Man, my Twitch is just doing that thing again. This is very, very frustrating. We'll do the Panther video, and I will do a Twitch restart. Luckily, this is pretty static, and there's no frames required. Right. Into the next one. Who else is Panther weak against? I want to throw up Doctor Strange. And mainly
probably
defenders.
As a general, I think you would say just Strange and defenders. In their ability, Strange can anyone that's in the defenders can pay 1 power and choose a type of attack. So they can pay 1 power to make any attack Mystic. So it makes Panther a very sad boy. There's not a lot really else he's weak into, I would really say.
Well, there is without just throwing multiple Mystic attackers up there, there is not much. I actually think that he's relatively weak to She-Hulk because of the auto slow and the mass
the auto slow is quite frustrating.
So she can really pin him down, and because his
push doesn't really work against her.
Exactly. You push her unless you push her for no damage, it doesn't work against her. So I want to say She-Hulk is in the weak against category. She also throws a really high quantity of dice. She doesn't have rerolls, but where her consistency is in her just huge attacks. 7 to
9 dice at him.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's big. And there's like stuns in there. There's staggers. She can throw size 4. She can really put some pain in a Panther. So I would definitely say that.
And lastly, you're 100% correct. Like, I'm looking at the listing in front of me of characters that I think Panther's weak against, and he might be the first character we have that only really has 4 things popping up. If we assume that MODOK
they're very prevalent in
Mystic.
the meta, so it's not like he's a silver bullet. Like, those things are stuff very prevalent.
Yeah, they're
But he's also really strong against a lot of good stuff. So he's a
absolutely.
really good pick for your roster in that, probably most of 80% of the characters in the game, 90% maybe you could say, Panther's going to be very strong into.
Absolutely. There is actually one more character I want to throw up there, and that is Loki. Loki is a pest for Panther, increasing his pounce and his mantle to 3 power each, combined with he does have a mystic attack ready to go. And then on his flip side, Panther then can't add crits into his roll, so he can't spike his defense and attack. Very annoying for Panther. So Loki fits that last spot right there.
Yep, I can agree with that.
Absolutely. So synergies. Who does Panther sit really well with? Who is a character that if you put Panther on the table, 2 Panthers. Who is a character that if you put Panther on the table, if you want to have them back to back, who sits with Panther?
He's really good in Web Warriors, I would say. If you're going to take him out of affiliation, park him in Web Warriors so you can reroll his skulls in defense if he's contesting objectives, and he's just all around having a reroll with blanks for successes is pretty massive. So
absolutely, I'll throw Miles down there then with synergies, well. And I will throw up Enchantress in his place because she's also good against Panther for the same reason as Miles. She can just take his stuff and run.
Take his extracts. Yeah, it's very annoying, and she's got the bow, which is semi-annoying for Panther because he doesn't technically have a charge. Like with the long position, he tends to stay in there, but no charge is kind of annoying for him.
100%. I need to figure out a new way of doing this without having to do mass amounts of editing because that takes up a huge amount of time that I do not have. Right. Who else does he synergize well with? I generally try to go for 5 of each, but you don't have to.
Well, he just synergizes. You could probably put everything there, like any affiliation in the game. If you just put Panther in as a 4-pointer.
Well, yes. Probably. But what are the things that...
I know that sounds really general, but if you really want to abuse Panther, Web Warriors, Wakanda...
Well, let me put some characters out there for you that I think, if they're combined with Panther and his leadership, become not just good. So you can put any character with Panther and they become good because they get rerolls and things like that. But the ones that really go from good... You don't want to just go from average to good. You want to go from good to amazing, right? Medusa.
Yeah. Medusa
because Vision. She already has rerolls.
Yep.
You can't modify against her, so then you can't modify your dice against her, and she gets a Wakanda and an Inhuman reroll in defense. She assists in the Wakandan strategy of control, mostly because she has 5 repositions a turn. I think it was you said, Travis, or 8 if 9 if you've all you've got.
5, I believe. Yeah,
that's it, or 9 if you've all you've got her, which is insane.
4 attacks. Yeah, it's crazy.
Vision exceptionally good again with Panther because of the Wakandan leadership and the beam attack.
Yeah.
He also can't be pushed.
Self-generates one every. He can't be pushed, so he sits on an objective. He just self-generates lots of power with his beam, and every time he gets a power for his beam, he gets another reroll, and it just the power's up there pretty quick.
Now, I think Vision, he is still top 5 for 4-pointers. But I want to say that he is going to go up in stock because of how good he is against Medusa. And with I think, like Reith was saying to us last night, I think in the long term of this game, Medusa will have a bigger impact on the game than MODOK. That's how good she is. And Vision being an exceptionally good character against Medusa, I think...
You could probably just start every one of your rosters with Medusa.
Yep.
Because... There's no affiliation that she's not going to be good in. There is no points value that she's not going to get value out of her. There is no threat crisis that she's going to be bad at. She's just ridiculous, right?
Absolutely. Now, Utility Cookies come in and said Doctor Strange, and I agree with you there. Increasing Panther's defense, making him 6 dice for physical and 5 on everything else, makes him even more invulnerable. So, Doctor Strange will slide him out of that week against... I haven't got Cable. I haven't updated the tier list yet, so it's still that's the problem with this game.
Same, people can imagine him there, so you can add Cable in there. Like I think Panther could be a good X-Force addition. He's going to get a reroll offensively. He's going to get defensive dice from Cable.
Yep.
He brings a little bit of reposition for them, and
Now, I struggle with the X-Force leadership because my problem is that basically all of those X-Force characters would be better in Wakanda.
because it does it better, right?
Exactly. It's like my problem with Inhumans right now. I want to play them, but I've had to just come to terms with the fact that they need to be played outside of their leadership.
They're good everywhere, but the tactics cards and Black Bolt doesn't bring enough to justify
Actually
investing
taking them.
5 threat plus slots.
Exactly.
So, I agree.
One more character or one more affiliation that you think Panther takes from good to amazing.
Avengers.
Yeah. It's good.
He's good. He's like the gold standard of Avengers, of 4-threat Avengers. Again, He's got everything. All of a sudden, Cap now makes his pounce 1 power or his mantle 1 power.
Yep.
So it becomes really easy to build on him.
You can build a crazy amount of power on him as long as you pay that mantle at the start of every turn. You can actually build a lot of power off his builder attack.
Easily.
Super, super, super powerful, and he's in affiliation as well, so even stronger there. So you're not having to take him as a splash character, right? You're taking him in affiliation, which means you can now look at different options to splash out on the end of your list.
Yeah.
Swap him back over to TTS. Let me just bring out a couple of tactics cards that I know are very good with him. Start with the old Wakanda Forever. I want to run us through why this card is so spectacular.
I mean, just read it. You'll understand immediately why it's amazing.
But why, if you think of a new player coming in and finding this video or this YouTube video, and he's heard a lot about Wakanda Forever, but he just like, oh yeah, it's just free attacks. Why is this so good with Panther and also the other Wakandans?
When you look at the Wakandans, right, you build off the fact of Shuri's range 5 and she gets an automatic push. Panther is range 2 and has an automatic push. And Okoye just all round is a 4 dice energy, which is really strong because a lot of people are weaker on energy, and she has a reroll. So effectively takes her energy shot into a 5 dice energy shot. It's only 1 power, and you can basically take a turn of your so to give you an idea, like Panther activates, he pays for mantle, he moves up, he attacks, he pounces, he attacks, pushes you into a corner. He then can play Wakanda Forever, pay 1 power. He still has his rerolls. He gets 1 more attack, and then he can look at the way the board state is after that, and Shuri can shoot and push somebody who's already activated off an objective, or shoot and say for instance reposition MODOK, so he gets out of range of your characters. She can all round just be a menace on that, and then again Okoye is a really good damage dealer, so she can look at what's left or what is on low health and potentially snipe them out of turn before she activates.
Absolutely. That is
They've got really good free attacks.
Well, let me bring you up another one. And this one's pretty self-explanatory. Field dressing. Very powerful for Panther because his healthy side is 1,000,000 times better than his unhealthy side. His unhealthy side, he loses...
Yeah, his unhealthy side is not as good.
Exactly. It's still very offensively strong on his unhealthy side, but he loses his blanks counting as success. So if you can prioritise him onto his healthy side, field dressing is the card for you. Another one that doesn't get used very often that I think goes with them very good. Bring it over here. Make it large. A lot of people didn't know you could do this with TTS. Vibranium Shielding. Now, do you know what this card does, Travis?
Yes, I've never played it in my life, but it is very quickly coming to the forefront of my mind for this
exactly. So Black
game
Panther,
and the way the game's designed to mitigate damage. So invulnerability,
when
I'll
this
just quickly read
character
it out.
go for
Panther Shuri. Shuri's a really good power battery. May spend X. X must be at least 1 and no more than 5. This round, this character and all our other characters, while they are within X, e.g. if you spend 5 power, if they're within 5 of Shuri, they gain the invulnerability innate superpower. X is equal to the amount of power spent to play this card. So you can make a range 5 bubble around Shuri. More often Shuri than not. Can be Panther as well. and they automatically always suffer 1 less damage. So you partner that on somebody like Panther and Okoye generally that are not taking a lot of damage because of their blanks for successes, and then they're taking even 1 less, it really adds up.
Yeah, you combine that with their already strong defensive capabilities, added with their rerolls and everything else, and on a swing turn, if you know your opponent is going into a swing turn, so shout out to Danger Room here, they did a really good podcast on swing turns, when you should time them, when you need to move the game to go into your direction and gain momentum. This is a great card at stopping a swing turn. So if you know their swing involves dazing a lot of your characters, playing something like this, combined with Wakanda rerolls, combined with their already strong defensive buffs like Martial Artist and Vibranium Shielding on Panther, or Vibranium Armor on Panther, he can just take huge, like just endless attacks, and potentially not be dazed for 6 attacks, right? And they could all be big attacks, and he just doesn't take like six activations being wasted into Panther is like, that's what you want here, right? You don't mind if he gets dazed, but if they use most 90% of their activations to do it, it's huge, right? It completely stops a swing turn. So I think this has got a lot of legs moving forward, especially if you're doing a solo Wakandan roster. Wakanda usually gets paired with another affiliation, but as long as you have 4 Wakandans in your roster, you can go to high points Wakanda, e.g. bringing Killmonger, and this is top level. This is great card. Yeah, or Storm. I mean, she's largely acknowledged as the worst Wakandan, but she is 3 threat, so that's a good thing going for her. Any other tactics cards that you think synergize with Panther really well?
Just your standard, like Medpack's really easy for him to get off, and healing him for 3, so half of his healthy side pool is really strong, so you keep him in the game on the healthy side a lot longer. Patch up for the same reason. Climbing gear is probably not bad for him because of his like innate not having a charge, so sometimes his push can be a little bit awkward because he sometimes pushes people out of his second attack, so he kind of gets stuck. Like, oh, I really want to attack this guy, but I've just had to push him out of range. So climbing gear is quite good on him.
It is awkward. It is awkward for him though, because it costs 3 power, and sometimes in those early turns,